If you're considering the Behringer Grind, a semi-modular hybrid synthesizer promising a powerhouse of 14 synth engines, 24 digital oscillators, and a 32-step sequencer, you've landed in the right place. But here's what surprised me. This synth isn't the straightforward magic box you might expect. While it boasts a price tag of $229 and a solid 4.4 rating on Amazon, the Grind brings a mix of brilliance and quirks that could either ignite your creativity or drive you up the wall. So before you click buy, let's unbox the real story behind the Behringer Grind that nobody's telling you. Now, here's the catch. Behringer markets the Grind as a hybrid multi-engine synth built for those who crave versatility. From rich analog, ladder filters and flexible LFOs to tons of percussion and noise engines. But in reality, it's not just a plug-and-play dream machine. If you're a beginner expecting immediate intuitive control or pristine factory presets, hold that thought. Because this synth demands time, patience, and a certain love for the quirky, semi-modular workflow. In this review, we'll dive deep into what's brilliant, what's broken, and why some users swear by it, while others have already hit return. Before we plunge in, ask yourself, are you a sound explorer hunting for raw, experimental tones? Or are you looking for polished, professional synth sounds out of the box? This matters. Stick around and I'll break down for you who truly benefits from this synth's wild feature set, and who might want to steer clear. Let's kick it off with the standout selling points. At $229, the Grind packs an insane amount of sound-shaping power. 14 unique synth engines, including 24 digital oscillators that cover saws, squares, and more obscure shapes, plus 10 percussion and noise engines, provide a sprawling palette that any synth geek will drool over. The analog ladder filter adds warmth and grit, cutting through digital coldness, something rare at this price point. The 32-step sequencer lets you build sequences or jam live, which is a great bonus for hands-on synthesis. But here's the kicker. Despite this arsenal, the interface can sometimes feel like a mad scientist's lab, not a polished product. This is no turn-it-on-and-play device. Instead, it's a playground for the patient and adventurous. Here's where things get tricky. The semi-modular architecture is a double-edged sword. It's fantastic for those who understand patching and want to shape sounds with cables and knobs. But for newbies, or even intermediate users used to more streamlined synths, it's easy to get lost in the spaghetti of patch points. The manual, though decent, doesn't fully help untangle this complexity. I found myself fumbling with signal paths and oscillator behavior that sometimes acted unpredictably. In fact, several online reviews mention the quirky character isn't just tonal, it's functional too. Some users report inconsistencies in how the digital oscillators sync or respond to modulation. It's like the synth has moods, and sometimes it's cranky. Speaking of quirks, the build quality is a mixed bag. The Grind feels solid enough, but some of the knobs have wobble, and the interface labeling can be confusing, especially under stage lighting. This is a synth that demands careful attention. It's not built for chaos. And if you try to jam fast, expect to hit some bumps. Also, while the analog ladder filter is a sonic winner, the LFO reportedly sometimes suffers from timing instability. On one hand, this can be creatively inspiring. It forces you to embrace imperfection. But it's definitely not for those who want tight, clean modulation effects every time. Now, a quick joke to lighten the mood. Why did the synth player break up with the Behringer Grind? Because it wasn't semi-modular enough to handle their emotional patches. Back to business. The sequencer is a highlight but also a pain point. The 32 steps give you a solid platform for building crazy rhythms and arpeggios, but the interface for sequencing feels a little outdated, with navigation that's less intuitive than modern devices. Some users even complained about a steep learning curve just to get a simple pattern going. So, if you're after a seamless sequencing workflow, this might frustrate you. On the other hand, once you get the hang of it, you unlock a monster of creative potential. with glitchy, noisy beats and evolving textures that keep blurring genres. Think of it like cooking with ingredients you have to prepare yourself instead of following a recipe every time. Another joke for you: why don't synths ever get tired? Because they always find a way to oscillatorate energy. Now, who exactly is the Behringer Grind for? If you're a beginner, this synth might feel like trying to read War and Peace in Klingon. But if you're a seasoned synth enthusiast or experimental musician looking for a budget-friendly machine packed with sonic possibilities and ready to get messy, then the Grind is your playground. It's especially suited for those who want to dive into hybrid synth sound design, manipulate sequences manually, and mess with noise and percussion engines alongside melodic tones. It rewards experimentation over perfection. But if you prioritize smooth user experience or rely on preset sound libraries, you're likely better off looking elsewhere. Here's a pro tip. Spending time with online tutorials and forums is non-negotiable if you want to unlock Grind's full potential. There's a growing community of users who share patches and sequencing hacks, which can accelerate your learning curve significantly. Now, you might be wondering, what about sound quality? Despite some of the interface hiccups and inconsistent behavior, the Grind sounds surprisingly good for its price. The analog filter gives the digital oscillators a nice edge that many budget synths lack. The percussion and noise engines are raw but useful for creating industrial, experimental textures. However, the digital oscillators can sound a bit thin or digital depending on the patch. It's not a polished polysynth. Think of it more like a wild sonic beast you tame with patience. Here's another little joke to keep you going. Why did the synth take a nap? Because it needed to synthesize some rest. Now let's talk versatility. The Grind is semi-modular, meaning it can integrate with other gear or even stand alone. If you have a modular rig or want to expand later with patch cables and CV gear, the Grind is perfect. It opens doors to huge modular fun without breaking the bank. But if you just want a keyboard synth with presets and easy live performance features, this synth isn't it. The semi-modular architecture is a love it or hate it deal depending on your workflow. On the community side, Behringer has a reputation for releasing affordable gear with some initial bugs that get ironed out over time. The Grind is no exception. Firmware updates, which Behringer has promised may smooth out some timing issues and improve sequencing stability, so it's worth keeping an eye on. For now, early adopters may have to live with a few glitches or invest time in troubleshooting. To wrap up, the Behringer Grind is not your average synth. Thanks to its hybrid architecture, myriad engines, and hands-on control, it offers a sonic playground like few others at this price point. However, it demands commitment, experimentation, and a willingness to embrace imperfections. It's perfect for adventurous sound designers and experimental musicians ready to dive deep. But if you're chasing plug-and-play ease or pristine digital sounds, you might want to look elsewhere. Despite its quirks, the Grind's price of $229 is incredibly attractive, giving you access to an impressive toolkit usually reserved for synths twice the cost. With a bit of patience, you can coax unique, gritty, and evolving sounds that spice up any production. So, should you buy the Behringer Grind? If you match the profile of an explorer eager for sonically rich chaos without breaking the bank, yes, get ready for some fun sonic adventures. If not, you might find it more frustrating than inspiring. Remember, music gear is about finding the right partner for your creative expression. The Grind's semi-modular soul is wild, but that's exactly what makes it special. If you want to snag one, check the link in the description for the best price on Amazon right now. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments, have you tried the Grind? What's your experience? Hit subscribe for more honest gear reviews, and may your synth patches always stay juicy.